Join us at CE on the Beach, June 26th to 28th, 2025, at the stunning Westin Grand Cayman Resort and Spa. This is the ultimate destination event for dentists, teams, coaches, and speakers. Save your spot now and get $150 off with promo code KHENRY. Visit ceonthebeach.com to register today.
Hey everyone, welcome into another edition of the Dental Assistant Nation podcast. I hope 2025 is off to a great start for you. Me personally, I don't know if you can tell, I have a cold right now. So I've been battling that since the new year. So this may be a little bit shorter podcast than we have had in the past, and you may hear a little different voice coming through the airwaves than you have in the past. However, I thought it was so important knowing we are in the new year and how important that this time is for dental assistants and for them to actually take control of their career in the year ahead. There was no way that I was missing this episode. So what we're going to talk about today are the 3 things that every dental assistant must do to start 2025 off on the right foot. It's very important that you actually take the time to do these 3 things. Now, I'm going to warn you ahead of time. Some of them aren't so comfortable, okay? I'm going to ask you to step out of your comfort zone a little bit, but if you want to have the day and the career in 2025 that you dream of, that you hope to attain, this is what you have to do. So I'm going to give you my 3 things, and I'm going to explain a little bit about each of them as we go. And the first one is this: make your own plans. Okay, now there's a difference between plans and New Year's resolutions. Okay, let's make that very clear from day one. I am not personally a fan of New Year's resolutions because they are so easily broken. You know, there's a commercial out there right now by Apple, and I don't know if you've seen it, but it talks about the watch, and it talks about the motivation that's on your wrist to keep you going. But if you listen to earlier in that commercial, it talks about the second Friday of January is known usually as quitting day, because by then so many people have already quit their New Year's resolutions that they no longer exist. So with that in mind, I'm not asking you to make a resolution. I'm asking you to make a plan. And what do I mean by that? I really want you to sit down and I want you to think about, if you're listening to something 1 year from today, if you're back here listening to the Dental Assistant Nation podcast 1 year from today, what does your career look like to you? Hey, you may be at the same practice. There's nothing wrong with that. But are there things at their practice that you would like to see improved? Maybe it's compensation. Maybe it's your job duties. Maybe it's your relationships. Whatever that is, you have to not only say, I want this to change, but you have to sit down and make a plan for how it's going to change. And I want to make something very clear. It's not going to happen all at once. When you make a plan and when you want something to change, it's going to be in incremental steps, okay? We're going to talk about that here in just a minute. But nothing happens unless you have a concrete plan for what needs to happen. You can't just go in and wish for something. You can't go in and hope for something. You actually have to put in the time, energy, and effort to say, this is what I want to see changed in 2025. This is who I want to be at the end of 2025. This is what I want my job to look like at the end of 2025. Now, I'm going to talk about realistic expectations here, and I'm going to talk about it again in a minute, so stick with me. But it's important when you're making your plan to also make sure that your plan is based on reality, okay? Look, I know some of you out there, whenever you go into the practice, there's a person there you don't really get along with, or there's something happening in there you don't get along with. You know, you may have to work with EagleSoft or Dentrix or Open Dental or who knows what, and you may not love that software and you wish, oh my gosh, I wish we could work with something else. That's great for wishing, but is it reality to see that changed? Okay, it's possible. Don't get me wrong. It's possible. But if you really want to see something that's going to be tough to change, then that's where you've got to put in that extra work to come up with some kind of business plan for why it's better to do this way than it is this way. Doesn't mean it can't be done, but it just means you're going to have to invest more time and thought into the process. So make your plans, write them down, Put them somewhere that you can actually see them every day as a reminder to you as you go along that these are the things that are important to you and these are the things that you want to accomplish. And I also want to say this about making your own plans. It's not going to be easy. Change never is. So don't give up if you hit that first hurdle and you feel like, oh, here we go again, and you just revert back to the old way. Don't do that. Stick to your plan. Make sure that you tell yourself to stick to that plan. Make sure you tell yourself not to quit, not to give up, that failure is not an option here, okay? And that ties into number 2, and that is set your milestones that are reachable, okay? Milestones that are reachable are such an important part of actually achieving your goals. And what do I mean by that? Number 1, milestones, things that you can pick up along the way, things where you can see your own progress, little boxes that you can check to let you know that you're on your right path, are critically important. And that's one of the biggest reasons, honestly, why resolutions don't fail. Scientists tell us that so often we shoot for the moon. We may not have gone to a gym for a couple of years, and all of a sudden we say, by the end of this year, I want to run a marathon. Oh, that's a big chunk, okay? That's a big thing. But we don't just go from sitting on the couch to running a marathon. We have to actually go to the gym, get on the treadmill, run a 5K, run a half marathon. There's steps along the way to get to that ultimate goal. Doesn't mean it's not achievable, but it means that you can't just go from 0 to 60 as well. So I want to make sure that you all are thinking about what milestones are you going to achieve to get to where you want to be. Now, this is something that you're going to have to come up with, and I'm going to say that you're going to also have to do a little bit of research in as well. And I'm going to give you an example. We're going to be perfectly honest with each other here on the Dental Assistant Nation podcast. I know some of you all are not going to be assistants for your entire career. There's nothing wrong with that. I want to make that very clear. Wherever you are in your career arc, staying in dentistry is the most important thing. And I think anybody will tell you that. If you're going to want to be an assistant to then a hygienist, or if you want to be assistant, work to the front office. I know some of you have dreams of dental school, and that's great. That is outstanding. But whatever that goal is for this year, you've got to have milestones to reach it. So I'm just going to take the example of hygiene school, okay? Some of you all will want to look at what does it take to become a hygienist. Well, that's going to take involving some work. And again, it's not something you snap your fingers and say, today I'm switching over from assisting to hygiene, right? You've got to do the schooling. You've got to know what it takes. You've got to take the exams. There's a lot of different things that go on in that career arc. So do the research. And if that's truly something you want to do, hey, I will cheer you on. And I will say, you go get them. Because we need hygienists. We need assistants. We need people to stay in dentistry. So that's the most important thing above anything else. But that's a goal for you, a plan for you. Then you have to make sure, what are the milestones to get to that point? What does it take to invest the money in order to do that? It's not going to be cheap, right? We have to make sure that you're building toward that. So how are you saving up for that? What kind of skills do you need to enter into hygiene school? What are the requirements? Little things like this where you know that you're checking the boxes to get to that ultimate plan. That's what's important. And milestones don't have to be about a change in career. Some of you all may want to take your CDA. Some of you all may want to become an RDA. Every state is different. Every state's requirements are different. But there may be a way that you want to expand your career. It may be through another designation. It may be through a skill that you want to learn in your practice. It may be something you want to become better at in your practice. And again, that's the milestones along the way. If you want to become the best at CEREC that is out there, the CAD/CAM in your practice, you want to know exactly what you can do. Well, first, you got to know your state laws to know what is allowed and what isn't. And second of all, you've got to have the right clinical skills and administrative skills and people skills in order to make the most of that investment by the doctor in that technology. So what does it take for you to get from where you are now to where you want to be in those little steps along the way? And knowing those steps is such a key part of actually achieving your plan. Now, we've talked about making your own plans. We've talked about the milestones along the way. Here's the third, and I will dare say one of the most important things that you can do in 2025, and that is, don't keep that a secret. Talk to your doctor. Talk to your dentist about what it is that you want to do, what you want to achieve in 2025, and how he or she plays a role in that. Now, for some of you, I know you just shut me off. You said, my dentist will never talk to me. He doesn't want to hear about this. She doesn't have time. There's going to be a lot of excuses. I'm going to tell you this. Keeping an assistant and an engaged assistant is one of the most important things that dentists can do in 2025. We all know about the hiring crisis, and I can tell you by listening to some of the leaders in ADA, some of the leaders in the Health Policy Institute, some of the leading economists out there, the job market is not going to get better this year. We're still going to have staff shortages as we enter into 2026. So keeping assistants, and not only keeping assistants, but assistants who want to actually be there and are engaged and focused and determined to get better, that's a key thing for every dentist. So this is where you talking to your dentist ASAP, not in March, not in June, now, and telling him or her about your wants, your needs, what you want to see happen in your career is vitally important, because you all being on the same page to start the new year and to move forward together and hold each other accountable where that lies is vitally important. And I will tell you this, I have talked to numerous dentists about this. Okay, so this isn't something that I'm just pulling out. Wouldn't it be great if you all talked to your dentist? No. There's a lot of them out there that actually want to have this sit down with you. You've got to find the right time to do it. You've got to find the right space to do it. It can't be, 10 minutes before the end of the day and everybody's ready to go home. No, it's got to be a carved out time where you all sit down and you talk about the practice's goals for 2025, practice's dreams for 2025, and how you fit into that, and how this dream of yours, this plan of yours, fits into that overall equation as well. So I'm asking you, go up to your doctor, say, hey, can we talk sometime, 15, 20 minutes, just about my plans for 2025, where I want to be with this practice or where I want to be in my career, and how we can work together to achieve that so that the business of the practice gets better. And notice that last line that I said, the business of the practice gets better. That's a key for every dentist to hear, because every dentist wants to grow the business. Every dentist wants to have a more profitable practice. Every dentist wants to have a better practice, and to have team members that actually want that same thing. Between me and you, it's a rarity sometimes. So telling your doc ahead of time, so he or she doesn't have to be a mind reader, that you want those same things is a critical kickoff to this conversation. And when that conversation happens, you have to be prepared. You've got to have that plan in place. You've got to be able to show it. You've got to be able to walk through it. You've got to be able to talk about the milestones, okay? So whenever I say don't keep it a secret, I mean, you walk into that and it's not just, I want to be a better dental assistant in 2025. That's great. That's awesome. But what does that mean? What does that look like? How do you get there? Those are the types of things that you have to share and have to have a solid plan in place for it to happen. So those are the three things that I want you to do in 2025. I'm going to go over one more time, okay? Make your own plan, okay? Set milestones that are realistic. And then talk to your doctor. Share with him or her what we just talked about, those milestones, those plans. I want you to have an excellent career. I want you to have an excellent year. I want you to have an excellent day. None of those things happen by chance. A lot of planning goes into every day in the practice for it to be significantly better than it was the day before or the week before. Same thing has to happen with what you want dental assistants out of your career. You've got to put the work in now so that when we get to December 31st and that ball is dropping and all of a sudden here comes 2026, you can look back and you can say, wow, this was a good year. And it was a good year because I took control of it. That's the key, dental assistants. I want you to be in control of your own careers. I want you to be in control of your own plans. I want you to sit back and know the power that you have every day in the practice. Don't let anybody take that power. You take it. You make those plans and you make sure that you share them with others so that you hold each other accountable as the days tick off. Look, right now in January, it's really easy for us to talk about plans. It's really easy for us to get excited about plans. What happens in May or June or August, whenever the year's kind of creeping along And all of a sudden you look back and you go, oh man, I've only got 3 months left in the year and I wanted to do all this. What happens? This is the time that you make sure that that doesn't happen. Your future self will thank you for the work you put in today. So make sure that you're doing that, all right? And hey, I'm not just throwing this out there and saying, go get them. I want you to know that I'm here to help you as well, okay? My email address is kevin@kevinspeaksdental.com. You can always drop me a line. I'm always happy to help you in any way that I can. You can also listen back to previous episodes of this podcast. I bring on guests that are such big believers in you, and I want you to hear what they have to say about your career and the steps that you can take along the way as well. It's vitally important that you know what an audience that you have around you. You are not an island. You are not fighting this alone. There's a lot of people out there that are cheering you on, and I'm proud to be one of those people as we enter into 2025. So again, it's Kevin@kevinspeaksdental.com. If you're going to be at Yankee Dental in Boston, I would love to see you. If you're going to be participating in Star of the North, the Oklahoma Dental Association, the Montana Dental Association, there's a lot of places that I'm going to be in 2025 speaking to dental assistants. If you'd like to have me come to where you are, let's drop a line and let's talk to each other about how we can make that work, because my mission is that every dental assistant in every part of the world knows how vitally important he or she is to the success of the practice and to the life of their patients. So I know you got this. Take the time, make the plan, make the effort, and good things are going to happen. I got faith in you. Always have, always will. Until next time, it's Kevin Henry. Hopefully I'll have a different voice whenever I talk to you next time. But as always, thank you for listening to this episode of the Dental Assistant Nation podcast. I hope that you are well, and I hope for nothing but success ahead for you.